Yes, that's right. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Phil and Brandon from Zaid Comics, the
Yep.
writer and artist of Magic Cop, which is now on Indiegogo, and the two best-looking brothers in all of comics. Thanks for joining us tonight. Doing a little quick stream here on our Wednesday stream block. If you guys aren't familiar with the channel, we do streams every Wednesday with new creators talking about new projects and such. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about Magic Cop, but we're also going to delve into the newest addition to Zaid Comics, which is going to be called The Lost Pages. Really excited about getting this out to everybody. We've been working on these characters for a long time here at Zaid Comics, back in, like 2013, something like that. About 7 years ago, we started with these characters with the silhouette, and Brandon and I have been creating ever since. Working, I've been writing stories for these characters, and yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about Magic Cop. Hope you guys could share the link, let people know that we're streaming right now, and if you're in the chat, if you have any questions for us about the stories, about Magic Cop or the Lost Pages, feel free to ask the questions. El Gargoyle in the chat. First viewer here. What's up, El Gargoyle? Always great to see you in the chat, brother. Awesome to have you.
Awesome.
Guys, check out El Gargoyle on Twitter. Yeah, so Brandon, we're here to talk about the Lost Pages. If you guys are unaware, you could actually check out the mailing list, which is up right now on Indiegogo. It's on our Twitter. It's in the link below. Check that out. Yeah, look at this.
Look at that awesome logo.
Yeah. Brandon did whipped up an awesome logo for the Lost Pages. Like I said, we've been working on this project for a long time. So I've had the title for the book probably for over a year now, and just kind of come up with a cool logo. It's had some different iterations, but I think this one best suits the whole story of the book and all the characters in it. I love it. It was exactly what we were looking for. So I'm glad Brandon knocked that out. Sick.
Yeah, I'll have to put that up on my art station. I usually will, like for the logos that I design, I have like all the different iterations for the logos, like here was like the first trial and the second trial, and then we go on to, the customer liked this and stuff. So that one will be cool because it didn't have too many. And like you said, the title of the Lost Pages is kind of a new thing, only a year or so old. But that'll be cool for everybody to see.
The art reminds me of Kyle Hotz, or Holtz. I think it's Holtz. That's awesome, man. Kyle Holtz is one of my favorite artists right now in the mainstream. He's amazing.
What is he doing?
He's the guy that's the freaking amazing guy that does like the heavy inking and the capes and the smoke. He did that Lobo mini story for the Dark Knights, short story things. He did a Swamp Thing story, and they're putting him on Justice League Dark this year, which I'm super excited about. It's gonna make me pick up Justice League Dark again. But yeah, Kyle's awesome. I think he needs like his own Lobo miniseries. El Gargoyle, there's a few different art styles because we're working with multiple artists on this book. If here on this banner here, that's one artist, Maxi Dallo, who's been working with me on the silhouette stories. He did this pinup for us, which I turned into this banner at the top, and you could see more of his art here, kind of that Frank Miller vibe. It's going to be in black and white and red. The blood in the story is going to be red, and this book. What's up?
So it's like a newspaper, black and white and red all over.
Yeah. So we're working with different characters, different heroes in different styles. And what I always say is the Lost Pages is like an exploration of comic genres. And it gives us at Zaid Comics kind of the ability, like an exercise of what we can put out and see what different things we can create. As a writer, writing these different characters that are totally on the opposite ends of each other and in different genres, different art styles. That's what I wanted to really bring to this. Being able to get multiple artists on this book to show their style and how they lend to these different characters, and then eventually the characters come together. They meet each other. They work together. They'll fight with each other, so on and so forth. So this is it's going to be a long running series here at Zaid Comics, and I'm super excited about talking about it, getting it out, letting everybody in on it. So this next story here is going to be drawn by Joe Ball, who you guys probably will recognize from Super Harem fame. He's doing a lot of projects on CG Jumpstart. He is working on a bunch of stuff right now, and we got him to do a page for us for this wild card story. And again, in a totally different style, different genre. He does hyper detailed stuff, lots of line work.
Yeah, it looks awesome. His work is super, super detailed.
Let's see if we can zoom in on
It's
that.
like a creepy pasta with all the hyper realism that he has going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's like a
Oh,
huge staple of a really good creepy pasta is how hyper realistic it is. So we have that going on here.
yeah. I'm really excited because he loves drawing monsters. And in this story, we have some really creepy,
There it is.
horrific
That's the word of the day.
sirens.
We should do a word of the day, like Pee Wee's Playhouse,
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah.
like if the person who's on stream with you says the word, then everybody in the chat gets
Ah,
yeah.
they scream. Everyone in chat
Yeah,
screams.
everybody in the chat screams.
Yeah.
That'd be
And then
awesome.
the other two stories are two different characters. We have Crimstone by the artist named Wolf, and this is like our 90s throwback, because we know 90s is such a huge staple in CG right now. Everybody that is buying it loves the 90s and that art style. We have John Malin coming directly under the house of Liefeld, and we really wanted to hit home for that market. And one of my favorite characters from the 90s is Lobo. He's my all-time probably favorite comic book character. And I really wanted to develop a character that was kind of an homage to that ultra violent, high T, toxic masculinity part of comics, and throw it in with this badass female character. Uh, and together they're called Crimstone. And this is like one of the most interesting characters I think that we've come up with here, where it is this chick who's like, or this buff badass babe who has an imaginary friend that comes back to her at her adult age, and comes back into her life, and he's this ripped, monstrous, just crazy psycho imaginary friend, and together they basically are a team of crime fighters, but he's only in her head. So anytime you see action happening on the page, you see him like beating up people, it's actually her. So we're going to convey that in the story. We're going to put some
Spoilers.
great 90s colors to this also.
A lot of people were saying that he kind of looks like the Max,
Yeah, Max.
and that was a
I've
really popular thing.
Yeah, I've been hearing Pit as well. I kind of wanted to get that
That's true.
Lobo body type. Um, there's a bunch of different influences. So Lobo body type, I like the profile of the Max, but I didn't want him to look too much like Venom. So I didn't give him sharp teeth. I gave him more the squared off teeth, kind of like the Mask. 'Cause I love the Mask's teeth.
From the comic.
Yeah, the comic The Mask,
Big
not
Head
the
Killer,
the movie with Cher in it.
aka Big Face.
Yeah, and he's got his hair is made of smoke. He's just going to be brightly colored. He's got these crazy cool tattoos on his arms that are going to change because he's imaginary, and that art's going to be killer, super detailed as well. Lots of action.
That's fine. I like the idea of like the tattoos changing, because you have to draw it so much, and sometimes you're gonna have like that degradation of tattoos being drawn and stuff. But you could write it off as her memory and character design of her designing her imaginary character or imaginary friend in her head at any given moment.
Right?
So
Yeah.
it's like the excuse of the tattoos changing.
That's how we went around this because Wolf drew this amazing piece of this kind of like hip hop samurai, and the samurai had these cool tattoos on his arms, and they're like different arrows going everywhere, and stuff like that. So I'm like, I would love to have something like that on Krim, the imaginary friend. But then I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh man, artists are gonna kill
Giant
me
pain in the
because
asses.
yeah, it's a huge pain in the ass to draw these intricate tattoos. So in most of the stories, um, Taz, who that's the name of the chick, she wears a leather jacket, like a biker jacket, and so does Krim. And so he'll have this jacket on that covers up his tattoos, but whenever he's going to kick ass, he takes the jacket off. And so every artist that works with this in the future could have their own like artistic freedom with these tattoos. It just shows that the character's more of an imaginary character that the female protagonist is kind of like making up the image of. Um, crazy earrings, dangling earrings, and stuff like that. Lots of cool tattoos as well.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. That's going to be a really nice, I think, like a really cool, unique storyline.
Yeah, for sure. Like all these characters have pretty vast storylines and where we can go with them. Um, and I'm just super excited about it. Like the final artist we have on here, James McVan. I found him actually. He was working on a project with Von Klaus for a while, and I think they put that on hold. It was this cool project called God Gun. But James is a storyboard artist that is, breaking into doing comics right now, and he's got this really cool like light anime style. Is it kind of reminds me of that Kyle Ritter trailer he did for Starblades, where it's like that in super intense but like mature anime where not everybody has giant eyes. It's just like really detailed and action packed. He has that style, uh, and so he is doing the parts of the story that kind of weave the tales together. Because as you can see here in this on this page, and I'll pull it up so we can actually see it bigger. But there's a homeless man who is basically the narrator of these stories. He's telling these tales to other people, passersby, other homeless people standing around. Your trope. You got your garbage can fire, and telling these tales to
The
people. So he'll
best.
he'll be doing that story.
You don't see enough garbage can fires anywhere anymore.
Yeah, that was a big thing in the '80s, I'm sure, right? Yeah, but that's and we'll see this homeless man come up throughout other stories in the universe, like in the background. He's in some of the silhouette stories, just hanging around the city. So here is that like this is actually going to be a panel in the book, and we have our homeless character who actually has the Book of Lost Pages, this magical tome that is written by mystery. We don't know who is the author of it, and we don't know why he has the book, but he's telling these tales, and for the first time they're being heard by the public, basically bringing these characters to life. And all these characters are living in this world, just kind of not known yet, and this is the first time that he's bringing breathing life back into these words. And this is a big moment in the comic where we see these heroes all together as he's talking about them from the book.
Are we going to get them like mention of every one of these guys in the first story, or is that coming out in
No,
subsequent?
that's the fun part. Like the thing I wanted to do with this with this page is like highlight the characters we're seeing now, right? And some that we're going to see later on in the series. So actually, one, two, three, four. We see four characters here that are actually in this issue, but then we see three of them that we're going to be introduced to later on in the IP. And I really enjoyed, kind of throwing them in there. They're Easter eggs. They're heroes we'll meet later, and all these heroes are going to actually interact with each other. And if we get far enough in the stretch goals, we might be able to see all of them in short stories that I'm going to add to the book if we make enough money. But if not, this is going to be like a big Easter egg piece, kind of foreshadowing what's to come. I know Brand's excited for that because he's got some of his favorite characters on this page.
Yeah, I was looking back through the YouTube log of videos yesterday when I was uploading the video or movie poster breakdown, and you had done a video pitch, like a comic book pitch about the pianist, and I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, sure. There's this character that's not in the main book that if we get through some stretch goals, we're going to actually unlock a 4-page short story for her. And she is this assassin character named the Pianist that Brandon and I came up with years ago as well, along with the Silhouette. And she's this hit woman, she's kind of like nods to the 90s bad chick comic character like She and Lady Death. But she goes out and she, is a hitman for hire. Very stylized character. Brandon came up with this awesome outfit for her, and we're really excited to get to her. But like I said, there's a ton of content in this series, a bunch of characters that we're going to get through. And I think the hardest part for me is kind of keeping everything concise and understandable. Like when you're writing something, creating something with a lot of characters, you don't want it to get out of hand, and you still want to be able to weave your reader through every point of your story. So taking these stories that are basically could be read on their own, right? And you know giving them this figure, this narrator, this homeless guy, kind of your crypt keeper, or your whoever host of some sort of series, the guy that hosts Twilight Zone,
Rod Serling.
Rod Serling, explaining these characters, but at the same time, he has his own story that weaves through the book as well. So kind of juggling all that has been the most complex thing for me, but I think we're gonna nail it on this one.
I like to think of it as like the episode of The Simpsons where it's 22 short stories about Springfield. We get a little bit of everybody in that episode, but the tales kind of weave together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and this is, like I said, this is going to go on from here, breaking off into spin-offs and so on and so forth. But yeah, this is going to be fun. I guess we can get into kind of like looking at the Silhouette, who's our first, was for the long time the face of our company because it was our first character.
Yeah, pretty much it was the Silhouette universe that everybody resided in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Silhouette was our first character, and then from there we had, a bunch of other characters. Wildcard came up, and he was a friend of this dog that they were going to have their own adventures together, and it just built into a bigger world of all of these heroes that we fit together in one universe. And that's where it came up. It's like I want to put out the Silhouette, right? But there's all these other characters, and we need a title for this now because it's grown outside of just his world, because we have Wildcard who's lived centuries and has been all over the world, and he has stories, battling different gods and mythical characters. So it just expanded outside of Chicago, where Silhouette is located. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up some silhouette concept art that our boy Maxie did.
Bring out the old loose leaf pages that we drew for the silhouette.
Yeah, I can.
Are they scanned in?
I don't think so. I have a matte black page that is scanned in. Let's see. El Gargoyle is still here.
Yes.
If he's imaginary, why not imagine new tattoos at convenience? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And she's like she's this well, we'll get to her in a second. She's awesome. But let me pull up, I guess I'll pull up my my Google Drive. This is the wrong Google Drive. So it gets to a point now that one of my Google Drives is too full, so I have to use a different email to make another Google Drive.
Gotta get yourself an external hard drive.
Well, Google, I trust
Or
Google.
Iron Key.
You get one from the deep web.
Yeah. We ordered a deep web Iron Key and looked at what was on it at 3 a.m.
All right. Here we go now.
It's a deep web joke about YouTube.
So here is some awesome silhouette concept art. When we do launch the actual campaign, you guys are going to get bios of each of these characters on the campaign page. You'll get to see what they look like and see what they're all about. We're going to be putting those together. And here's the silhouette in his badass car. He has this old, what kind of car is it, Brandon?
It is a Cord, and I don't remember exactly what the model is, like 500
like
or something like that.
1932 Cord or something like that. And when we see it in future comics, and for the old Silhouette comics, it was in there, and it's this old, rusted out dump of a car that doesn't run. But the way the Silhouette powers work is when he walks up to it, it gets encloaked in this blackness and turns into this badass Silhouette ride. Hey, what's up, Ted Lehman? What's up, brother? How's it going, man? Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, brother. Excited about this comic. Just showing off a little bit more info on it. And this is the Silhouette in his awesome car. Maxie did this sweet concept art for us. And then here we have a closer look at the character. Has some really cool powers. He is the absence of light. He is basically a shadow man that can affect people's shadows and shadows of objects. So he could take the shadow of a gun and he'll have it. He'd manifest it at any point. He could shoot it at anything and it'll hurt their shadow. So in our universe, we're kind of looking at the shadow as like your soul. So he could literally lift you up by your shadow and you will float off the ground. If you're running away from him, he could grab your shadow and throw you and make guns out of it. Like I said, he can walk through walls, but he can be hurt by physical touch. If he's caught out guard, he is shot a couple times throughout his life, and that hurts him a lot. He'll pass out from that. But he does have one weakness, which we'll get into, far down the line. But he kind of has his own kryptonite.
It's women.
Women weaken legs. Yeah, so that is the Silhouette. You guys could catch him in his own 4-page short story in CG Jumpstart. If you guys back that when that launches, that story is totally done. It's colored, it's lettered by myself, and I think it's going to give people a cool look at what's in store for the Lost Pages. Hopefully, CG Jumpstart will come out before the Lost Pages, so you guys.
Otherwise, Lost Pages will be a sneak peek into what you might see in CG Jumpstart.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So let's see here. We have that is the Silhouette, and I guess I could bring up this full page, because this page is pretty awesome. And then we'll move on to one of our other characters that is in the book.
Pianist. The pianist.
We could get to her. Let's pull up. Do I have a lettered copy of this? I do. And this is the second page of the story, I believe. Yeah. And this is the reveal of like the first time you see the silhouette in the story. I lettered it all up. Kind of like the title page for his. Like I said, there's 4 stories highlighting characters in this, so they'll each have their own title page and hopefully cover, because I really like doing covers and spending money on covers.
Dude, Dad's
So
gonna be so mad.
they'll each have their own covers. So kind of pulling from like Rorschach, Sin City, Frank, a lot of Frank Miller, and Maxie is doing awesome with the inking of him. He's exactly how I want him to be, with these vertical lines that make the definition of the character. He looks so cool.
Yeah, they did a great job on integrating the background. Gives a really, really nice gritty feel.
Yeah,
It's
for
like
sure.
eating a sandwich on the beach, and there's all this grit in your mouth from the sand.
Yeah, I hate saying
I'm
it.
feeling looking at this page here.
It's everywhere. All right, Wild Card. So this is the story that Joe Ball is going to do. Wild Card is an ancient sorcerer from Merlin times. He lives forever. He's immortal. So he was an apprentice to Merlin, and he gets his power from this from this basically relic that Merlin gave him, which is half of the first deck of Magic. So Magic cards. And he has control over nature and emotion and a bunch of other things that he can do with magic. And he's a master alchemist, so on and so forth. But he travels the world, and he goes around keeping the balance between, and so this is my way of integrating mythology into comics, because I'm a huge fan of any pantheon of mythology. So we're going to kind
And
of get
amateur magician.
Yeah, I used to be a magician. I used to call recreational magician.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of magic. Um, so yeah, Wildcard is a badass wanderer that goes around saving the world from the menaces of mythology, and he has a sidekick best friend who is a talking wolf, who's been around in our comics for a really long time. He goes back to the first Silhouette comic, I believe. He was
Yeah, that's true. Of the 2 printed Silhouette comics, he was in the first one as well.
He was in the first one
by a different name.
So let's pull up some, get a closer look at Wild Card, and then we'll show off this beautiful page that Joe Ball did. Let's see here. It should be right here. And I think Wild Card's is probably my favorite of all the characters we have
I feel
here.
like Wild Card is the comic persona of what you wish that you were. With the white hair, with the streak and the tattoo, and he's
it's not a
magic
self-insert. Not a self-insert, but I really
He's got
like
the
him.
tight pants with the pirate shoes. He's
Oh
got
yeah,
the
man, those shoes are awesome.
The white shirt. Whoa, what's that? He's got the white hair, and he's always smiling at something.
So this is a kind of a concept that, no, it's not a self-insert. My arms are bigger than hers, so this is a concept that Maxie did for us, Wild Card. As you can see, he's got this awesome tattoo that runs down his arm, which we'll get into later, but it's basically the relic is part of his arm. He has this card that's embedded under his skin that gives him this magic. And anytime he puts on a shirt, there's so much magic in that tattoo that it burns the sleeve off. So anytime you'll see him, he'll have his left arm exposed. And yeah, he's awesome, man. I can't wait for you guys to to read Wildcard because there's a lot of stories with him and the rest of these characters. I just want to throw up this amazing Joe Ball page that he did for us so we could show off, on the landing page for the mailing list and the rest of the stuff. So that is right here. And we'll zoom in here because you guys know Joe Ball. He doesn't mess around when it comes to detail.
He
So we're gonna have to.
draws with individual atoms. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, atom tipped
Individual.
pencils. So what's happening in this story, you guys can read up on it on the mailing list, but basically it's in the 1600s. Wildcard is sailing on a ship, and he's basically a captain of a pirate ship. And he's the captain of the Black Maddie, which I just came up with a couple weeks ago. And I hope not. I tell my wife I'm her wild card. Okay, Elgaga. I see you. And in this short story, Wildcard's ship gets overrun by the song of the sirens. And these are beautiful women that are, on the beach at this cove, but they morph into these horrific bird women, bird babes that are gross and they want to eat Wildcard and his men's ship. So Wildcard has to overcome his own crew that are hypnotized by the siren song and some more horrors. And we got our little wolf buddy Scar down here getting picked up by one of the sirens. Look at this boat, man. This is some of the best arts that I've seen in a long time. So detailed.
So that's the front of his ship.
Yeah, this is his ship.
He has a big siren on the front of it or something.
It's like an angel of death
I see.
that Joe wanted
Could
to
you
throw.
imagine drawing that again from a different angle?
I mean, Joe's gonna have to. I mean, he loves doing that stuff.
I guess.
He made it as complicated as he wanted to. That
Yeah.
was this chick on here was his idea. He's like, "Hey man, is there anything at the front of the ship?" And I'm like, there could be a chick. And he asked me, he's like, "Is there anything up there?" I was thinking like a chick angel of death skull. And then I thought those were three options, and I'm like, "Yeah, the chick would be cool." And then he's like, "Oh, it's everything." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome."
What's the inside of that bird beak in the second panel there?
This one right here.
What is that? Yeah, what's
That's
that?
her. That's her head.
That's her head.
Yeah.
So for the people at home that don't know, sirens are like these bird women, right?
Yeah, so the misconception about sirens is that they're mermaids, right? Because mermaids are always like teasing sailors, but the actual siren myth starts in Greek mythology, and they were three sisters that were best friends to Persephone, the daughter of Demeter. And when Persephone notoriously gets kidnapped and coaxed into the underworld by Hades to be his queen, Demeter is so irate, she's so pissed off that the Siren sisters didn't protect Persephone and didn't warn her about going down into the underworld, that she turns them into these hideous creatures, these bird women that have like bird bodies, but they still sing beautiful songs. And they're cast out of Olympus. So the way they take their revenge out for this stuff is they coax these men onto the shores to crash their boats into the mountainsides, and they feed on them.
But I would say that the men had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, well, the way I look at it, and I also wrote up bios for the sirens. So in the bio, I look at it as they're like hardcore feminists now because Hades slighted them. Hades took Persephone away, which led them to be turned into these monsters. And so all men have to pay for what Hades did.
Even though Hades not really a man.
Yeah.
More of a god.
He has a dong, I'm sure.
Yeah, the ancient mythology.
Yeah.
Very human.
So each of these sirens have their own design, basically, and they're pretty horrific. I love it.
That's cool. That'll be for the video game. They'll each have their own individual design character.
Yeah, model. Yeah. And then we got Crimstone, who we'll take a little bit closer look at as well. Crimstone, another, I mean, I love all these characters, but Crimstone's, he's my 90s badass. You know, he's high T,
Another
toxic
self-insert.
masculinity. Yeah, another self-insert. I'd say my arms aren't this big. You know.
After this gain powder, though, who
Oh yeah,
knows?
man. How about the gang powder? So here we're going to get a closer look at Crimstone's head right now. This is the head that we went with when we were looking at him, designing him. No, can't zoom in with scroll. So this is what he looks like. I really wanted the big teeth, not to be confused with Venom, or the sharper teeth. He's got square teeth, big, awesome grin, and a lot of this character is represented on our female counterpart to this character, whose name is Taz. So Crim and Taz make up Crimstone. Taz's last name is Stone. Um, and Taz wears these cool over-the-top sunglasses and this little graffiti artist mask when she goes out crime fighting, and that is reflected on kind of the design for Crim's head. As we can see here, his eyes trail up over his head like those sunglasses, and the big grin.
Yeah, she did. Or the artist did a really nice job here of capturing a really unique character. I
Yeah,
think there's a lot of really cool stuff. I could imagine this guy's voice being like some really deep, cartoony voice from like maybe I don't know, it's from like some like early '90s cartoon movie.
yeah, for
I
sure.
can't think of what it would be. It's like
Hmm.
right there.
Here's another kind of like pinup we were thinking for the bio art. Both of them on there.
You'll have to
But
do. Go on.
no, what were you gonna say?
So you'll have to do a poster, kind of like the one from the Episode 1 Star Wars, where it's little Anakin, and then there's the shadow of Darth Vader.
Yeah, yeah,
You
that's
could do
true.
this one.
That'd be funny. Yeah, we do. We kind of have that in one of the stories where she's walking up to this bar and her shadow is cast, but it's his shadow. She's kind of like this tomboy chick who's a biker babe, who rides a motorcycle, works on motorcycles, and works out a bunch. So eventually becoming a really cool crime fighter.
So this is less of a self-insert as more of like a wish list for
Right,
you.
wish list. Yeah, definitely. She's tall, you
Yeah.
know.
Or that's
Um,
you. That's what you want to be him, and then that would be your girl.
yeah, sure. That's better than me wanting to be her, for sure.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
what's going on.
So Crimstone, look out for that guy. Um, Lots more coming with that duo, and then I want to pull up this awesome. Where is it here?
And then do it.
Here it is. We're gonna backtrack here and actually pull up some Lost Pages characters that you designed back in the day.
Yeah. We're talking about
Right here.
James Franco Stein here.
We're talking about these guys. One of them specifically being the pianist right here,
Drawing.
who Brandon was talking about earlier.
Yeah, she's a good character. She went through a little bit more character design and turned out a lot cooler.
Yeah, she's gonna be awesome. She's our our babe assassin, and then this guy here, Masquerade, who used to not be called the Masquerade, but now that's his name. He looks completely different now, except for the mask. And we could show off a little bit of his stuff as well, because they're both in the book. So if we pull up this picture here, I'll show you where they are on that, and then we can wrap this bad boy up.
I think the audience at home wants to know more about the muscular guy with the champagne bottles.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do. Where is it? All right. So here in the corner, the top right corner, we have Masquerade.
Ron
He
Perlman for Crimstone's voice is what Ted Lehman's saying.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. I love Ron Perlman. Yes, that would be great. So Masquerade up here, he is kind of our pulp hero. He is like our early 1930s, kind of like the Shadow or the Phantom, if you guys remember those characters, the Spider. A lot of, imagine like a Dynamite character, like Dynamite Comics is putting out right now. He's a man of disguises. He could turn into anybody. We also have him big up at the top here, this pinup that Maxi Tala did for us. And yeah, he wields a rapier and speaks in iambic pentameter. So he speaks in Shakespeare talk, and he loves literature. He loves theater, and is a very theatrical character. A lot of his villains, other than gangsters, he faces off against very theatrical villains, kind of like your 1966 Batman villains. Uh, so he's a really important character for the long run of this story. Uh, and, you guys will find that out later as this goes on. We all already have one story of his done that we did with a different artist who couldn't help us out on this full book. But here's a page of his. Whoops, I hate this scroll thing.
Oh, I'll show you to fix that.
So here he is in action in the story. That if we reach a high enough goal through the stretch goals, we will unlock these 4-page stories for each of the characters. They're kind of like trailers for the characters. They helped me get a voice of the character and kind of like flesh out what they're going to look like and who they're going to be.
Show the seats. Seats.
Oh, the seats? Why do you want to see the seats? I think this is...
You're not even on that page? That's
no.
fine.
But yeah, as you can see here, he throws his cape around him with this big whoosh effect, and he morphs back into the Masquerade, speaking
So
all
if
in
you were going to
rhymes.
speak in iambic pentameter, how would you read the that Masquerade's quote right there?
This one? You would say, "Prepare to be unmade by Masquerade."
Excellent.
Yeah, he's awesome. So that's like our final character that wraps up the whole story. His is the last little tale there in the book, and it takes place. It's a period piece, so it takes place in like the 1930s. He's hunting down some gangsters, and that story is going to be a big part of the lore in the Lost Pages, and so is this character.
I really like the motion that he drew for the Masquerade there, when he's kind of like a blurry arrow moving in one of those panels. It
Yeah,
was really good.
yeah, no, he was doing great work on that, and that was all digital. This is part digital, part traditional, and this was like a pinup. I don't know, we might use it for a cover or maybe an exclusive print or poster, but this was it's like super well done by Maxi. Totally hit it on what I had in my head with the book opening up here and the characters jumping out, and you see like they're all their own personalities. We got Wildcard here, and we got Taz and Krim. She's all happy, flexing her muscles. Krim's looking crazy behind her in silhouette, and then Masquerade just looking over all of them.
This would look really cool. You remember how I did those Mortal Kombat scrolls?
Yeah.
This would look really cool like that, with like that parchment color behind it, and then just having like a worn out black ink look to it, printed
Yeah.
out on canvas pieces, maybe like a stretch goal or something like that. That would be really cool.
Hey, Skits Comics in the chat. What's up, Skits? Thanks for tuning in. We're just going over the next big project that we're doing here at Zade Comics after Magic Cop ships out in a couple months. So we're kind of ramping up on letting everybody get some peeks at the Lost Pages, which is our crazy hero tale of our connected universe for Zade Comics. We have a lot of heroes and characters in here that are going to be badass. But yeah, Brandon, I think that would be super cool to do that parchment look. I was thinking about that the other day, kind of like on the back of our, if we do trading cards,
Mm-hmm.
the back could just be all line work and text, and it could look like that, like brown parchment, like you did with the logo.
The trading cards are branded onto trading card size pieces of leather.
Yeah, that would be something.
That'll be an upgrade thing. We'll unlock the trading cards at first, and then when we reach another stretch goal, we could unlock the leather trading cards.
Yes. So then the last character, like we were talking about, the pianist, she is drawn over here. You can see her veil over on the bottom right of this picture. So, like I said, not all these characters are going to be in the book, but we wanted to give them little foreshadowing of the characters. Of course, we have the silhouette up here, Masquerade, Wild Card in the center, Taz from Crimstone over here with her Crimstone outfit on, her sunglasses and her mask, the homeless guy, and then three other characters that are.
Pianist pinup here.
Oh, the pianist pinup. Let me. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, Brandon was just drawing that.
Yeah.
So the pianist is this assassin that by day she works as a piano player at a piano bar, and by night she goes out and kills people for money. We also, I think I should have the one that Wolf did. Oh, you know what? Let's check this out. So this is an old concept that Brandon did for the pianist.
Yep.
On lined paper.
That's
and
so
as you can see, this concept's from 2013.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Is that what it says? Wow. So this this costume stood the test of time.
It's made a couple of changes.
Mm-hmm.
Changed the waistline and the pants a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So we're excited about this. We're going to talk a little bit about Magic Hop, and then we're going to get out of here so we could go watch some other streams. So let's see what we got here. Where is Magic Hop?
I gotta ask one question.
Yeah.
Why isn't Passion doing anything on the Lost Pages project?
I don't know, man. He's so busy. He's got Doom Fate coming out. He's working on another project called Grave Robbers that'll be coming out probably late summer or maybe a little bit longer, but that looks really cool. Passion's a hot commodity.
Yeah.
I just can't get him to do anything for me.
Yeah. You got to refresh this page, man.
Do I? Yeah. We're at 123.
We're at a nice even 6,300.
If we owned StreamYards, we could put in like those GIFs and video slots. Right now, I would put in a slot of JR yelling F5 and Brock Lesnar doing an F5.
Yeah.
F5.
Set the page.
Yeah. Let's refresh the page. Let's see here. 6,300. Look at that. Yeah, we just got a couple backers yesterday and today. And we're 124 backers. We're still climbing up to 150, everybody. That's what we're trying to get. I just put up an update today for Magic Hop, and we'll check in on that one. This awesome double page spread here that Brandon threw together. We just got the colors back. And look at that. Sweet new area with inside of Ambrosia.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
And as well as, what were you saying?
Simulated page bend.
Yeah. We had to simulate the page bend in here because it is a double page spread. And we have 3 sketch cards still available, everybody. So if you guys haven't backed yet, I would implore you to pick up the featured perk, which comes with the 92-page full graphic novel of Magic Hop, as well as the Ash Can, which is going to be it's going to be over 30 pages right now. It's going to have a bunch of back material in it, as well as the 12-page pilot issue, which I could show you guys right here. It's called Karaoke Express. and it was the first story that Brandon and I, kind of like a practice story we did together to kind of mesh our talents together. Lots of action and lots of color, awesome color by Eugene. Um, so that is going to be in the ash can, and you're also, with that featured tier, you're going to get one of these 3 sketch cards that you could choose from. Just
Not
let
the
us know
Hilly.
in the comments.
I want the hilly one.
You want the Helly one? Yeah, she is awesome. So you got Magicop, Grey Wolf, and Helly, the sexy Helly Nightshade. So check that out. Go over, watch our video, look at all this sweet art, and support Magicop so we could come back and bring the Lost Pages to you even better, even quicker, with some more art, and keep on pumping out Magicop and the Lost Pages, everybody.
And Untitled Project for late
And more.
2020.
Yeah, we have a lot planned for 2020. So I think we're gonna hop off now. Brandon, is there anything you want to say to the audience?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Unless you guys like naked women, go over to my Patreon. You can go
Yeah,
check them. Get some
patreon.com/ZadeNinja.
awesome paintings that I do. And yeah, help back Magic Cop, because we're trying to get to 150 backers. And then once we get there, you're going to see some real stuff.
Yeah, we got some awesome stuff in store. We get there, and we keep
Serious.
breaking in stuff. We want to do posters. We would like to do trading cards if possible. We just want to bring the coolest stuff involving Magicop to everybody. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We do streams every Wednesday. I think we're going to start doing some on the weekends too. Those have been working out pretty well. So hit that bell for notifications, and we will see you next time, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
See you later.